What's going on, everybody? Thank you again for tuning in to another show on Hbtv with your host, Harry Bugarin. Got a great show today. We have a couple of guests. We have AGNES CABILLON, who's going to be talking about some skin products. She's an independent consultant with Rodan and Fields. And then immediately after that, we are going to chat with Guro Henry CABILLON, who is an FMA, Filipino martial arts instructor. We're going to talk to him about his journey as an instructor, as a student, as a competitor, and just what it really means to be a practitioner and to be involved with that with so many years as an FMA instructor and practitioner. Again, if this is your first time tuning in to Hbtv, I do appreciate your time. And for all you continuing subscribers and viewers, appreciate all the love and support. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get with our first guest, AGNES CABILLON. So let me just go ahead and bring her on our Zoom. Agnes, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hi, Harry.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Thanks for dropping in on the show. So do me a favor, give us your 30-second elevator speech of who AGNES CABILLON is and what do you do?
Sure, for sure. Thank you again so much for the opportunity, for allowing me to be here. I am a Rodan and Fields independent consultant. First of all, a wife, mom, all that good stuff. I've been with Rodan and Fields for a few years now. I first learned about the company through social media. To a good friend of mine, her sister was posting some pretty awesome before and after pictures. Really was intrigued, wanted to try out the product, liked them so much that I decided to become an independent consultant myself. So right around that time in my life, my little one was about 2 years old, and it got me thinking about wanting a plan B from my 9-to-5 job and really wanting to be around for her for some of those major milestones and being there for her more while she was growing up. So that was a huge part of my why in joining the company. So
No, that's awesome. So
yeah.
tell a little bit more about it. As far as the products, you are doing a lot of the skin products, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that, and if you do have any of the products with you, just go ahead and show us and tell us all about it.
Sure. Yeah. So our products, it is a skincare company. We have everything from, cleansers to serums, face masks, pro tools, products for your eyes, your lashes. Regimens use what we call multi-med therapy. And what that means is we use the right ingredients with the right formulations in the right order. And that's all backed by science. And something that I really like about the integrity of the company is that every regimen package, I'll show you one, it actually says track your progress on the top of the box. And what that means is it invites you to take a picture of yourself before you start the product, before you start the regimen. And that way you can track your progress after, 30, 60 days. And, you really see what kind of difference it's making for yourself. Another cool thing is if you're not 100% satisfied, you can actually return those products within 60 days and get your money back, even if the bottles are empty. So that's how confident we are about the efficacy of the products. So you also asked me about some of my favorites. I have a couple of that I had brought down here to share with y'all, but I love just about everything I've tried. But if I do have to pick, one or two favorites, I love our active hydration serum. It's great for adding hydration for dry skin. And to be real, if I run out of this and I, happen not use it, I can really tell a difference when I don't have it. So I love the active hydration serum. My next favorite is our Lash Boost. It's what can I say about it? It's our bestseller. It's amazing. Folks may have seen before and after pictures of these gorgeous lashes on social media. So this is what that is, Lash Boost. No falsies, no extensions, no glues involved. Just your natural lashes looking beautiful and full and longer and gorgeous. So those are my two favorites.
Right, right. So, I mean, as far as your products, you said it's backed up by science, which is great. Um, is that something just for adults to be using, or can like kids like in junior high and high school, those type of customers can would they be able to use it, or do you have like the kids products as well?
Great question, Carrie. We actually have um, products that are but in acne line in particular that is geared towards young adults and teens, and we that's our spotless regimen. So we do have some products that are geared more towards the younger folks. I would say for the most part they are for adults. Like we have an anti-aging line. We have regimens for like skin discoloration or dark marks that you can work on after years of kind of being out in the sun. So, but we do have some products that are geared towards the younger ones. I would say our Soothe regimen is great for pretty much all ages. It's great for sensitive skin. You can use it for little ones for maybe like some sunburn or some, if somebody has like redness, red sensitive skin, it's great for pretty much any age to use. So.
Let me tell you, like back in 1988 at Carnegie, I could have used some of those products as well. Just dab here and there and there. Again, you're
Yes.
watching HBTV, the show, with your host Harry Bugarin, and my special guest tonight is Agnes Cabillon. She is an independent consultant with Rodan and Fields. So let's just say that people do want and are interested in your products.
Mhm.
Like, how can they get to it? How can they get to you? Do you run like I don't know, any type of Zoom type of meetings to where you invite people and you have different people come in and you just showcase the product online or on Zoom?
Yes, yeah. So because we can't, go out and have our in-person events now, we do have my team and we do have some virtual events where you can be introduced to the product, a little bit about the company. If you find yourself in the same situation that I was and looking for, another opportunity, another stream of income, there's certainly the business opportunity side of the company that you can take advantage of as well. And Harry, I can give you my Rodan and Fields website information if you want to drop that in the description of the comments. But yeah, that's a way that people can check out my website and peruse the site and check out the products and learn a little bit more about the business. But yes, for sure, I have one-on-one calls. We can have virtual meetings. We can learn a little bit more about the products and yeah, I'd love to share more information. Whoever is interested.
Oh, awesome. So, as far as the business aspect of it, like, can you tell us just a little bit about that, and as far as like the process of getting in and stuff?
Right. Well, I wouldn't describe myself as a salesperson. I know some folks are a little wary, like, oh, I'm not into sales. I don't like to, not a, don't want to be pushy with my friends or family, that type of thing. Um, I want to assure you that that's not what this company's about. It's really, I use the product, I have friends that use the products, love them, they see great results. And we share that with other people. That's kind of the gist of our process. I liken it to if you have a restaurant that you really love, that you recommend to people, or there's a movie that you saw that that you enjoyed. It's just natural. Hey, have you guys seen this movie, or share it with your friends. So the company and my R+F community that I've become a part of, they provide the training, the tools, support. So you can certainly learn along the way. If you have any questions about what's involved with how to become a consultant, you can certainly DM me and message me, and we can chat more about how to get you involved.
That's awesome. As far as just going along with the business aspect of it, as far as like the support system that you get and like continuing education for your products and just being that independent consultant, how
Yes.
has that been working for you as well?
It's been awesome. I would say our biggest opportunity for learning is our annual convention, and that is happening actually in October. And this year, as many things have been around the world, has the in-person has been canceled, but we are still having a virtual convention in October where you can hear from keynote speakers, you can hear from trainers, you can hear from some of the top leaders of the company and learn some of their tips and tricks and strategies that they have been using to be able to be successful, and that you can learn from as well. So aside from our annual convention, we also have weekly trainings with our team. We have just a plethora of opportunities. We have a virtual platform for all of our consultants. You can go in and like an on-demand training session that you can attend at any time, whenever you have the opportunity, whenever you have a second. So.
That's awesome. Again, you're watching HBTV, the show with your host Harry Bugarin and my special guest tonight, one of them at least, Agnes Cabillon, who is an independent consultant with Rodan and Fields. As far as the products, Agnes, any like notable figures out there, whether it be in Hollywood or anybody that endorse your products that you can tell us about as well?
I don't. Well, let me see. Someone that I can think of a recent example because I actually heard about it maybe a week or so ago. Molly Sims, I think she was in that show Vegas years ago.
All right.
She actually, yeah, she loves our Lash Boost. She had posted about it maybe, I forgot, a few months ago, and she also recently endorsed our newest product. It's the Brow Defining Boost. So it's for your eyebrows, and it helps provide some volume, some fullness, some thickness if you have kind of the sparse eyebrows. I have some friends who, instead of continuing to do microblading, they're now using this Brow Boost product. So.
Okay, so just a couple more questions. Let's say, for example, people are interested in those products, right? Do you recommend that they consult their physician before even purchasing anything for them?
There are certainly some situations I would recommend them checking with their doctor first. For example, I have a wonderful customer who when she was pregnant, she wasn't sure if she can use some of the products, some of the skincare products, and I told her, give the ingredients list to your doctor, make sure everything is cool first, and once she was in the clear, then she was able to start using the product. So yeah, definitely check with your doctor first. If there's some things that you are concerned about, if you want to just be on the cautious side. So.
Awesome. Well, Agnes, thank you for dropping by. I do appreciate your time and you sharing about your products and your business. Is there anything you would love to tell our viewers before we get off?
Closing thoughts, maybe.
Yeah.
This is an interesting statistic that I've heard. So genetics are only about 20% responsible for how your skin will age. So 80% is actually in your control, which is great news because then you can use the right products in order to achieve your skincare goals. So a lot of that control is in your hands. So I know, with all the craziness kind of going on right now, a lot of us can use, some self-care, some pampering. So, I'm actually working on trying to coordinate a girls spa night, over Zoom with some family members. So, anybody wants to be a part of that, reach out to me. We can make it a whole night, and just whatever you guys can do to take care of yourself during this time is really important. So, I just wanted to make sure everybody's taking care of themselves, and if you have any questions about products or the business opportunities, reach out to me, and Harry will put my contact info in the description of the comments. So.
Will do, Agnes. And thank you. Thank you again for stopping by. I do appreciate it. Love you, sis. And you have a blessed night, and I'll catch up with you later on. So thank you.
Thanks, Harry. I really appreciate the opportunity. Appreciate you so much.
No
Take
problem.
Care. Okay.
Take care. All right, everybody, that was Agnes Cabillon, again, an independent consultant with Rodan and Fields. I will put her accounts and her websites that she gives me on the video description. So stay tuned for that after it's recorded. So again, watching HBTV with your host, Harry Bugarin. We have another special guest, which is actually Henry Cabillon. He's going to talk a little bit about his journey as an FMA practitioner, as an instructor, as a competitor. We're going to get deep into that a little bit and just what it means to do that for him. So without further ado, let's welcome Guro Henry Cabillon. Henry, can you hear me, brother? Oh, hold on. One more time. Henry, can you hear me?
All right, I think I'm good to go.
All right, you're good to go.
How you doing,
Thanks.
brother? How you doing, Harry?
I'm good, man. Thank you for taking the time to stopping by the show. I do appreciate it. You know, I've been trying to get you on some type of like series, right? I've been trying to get you with like a mini series of who you are and VISAYAN legacy and some FMA stuff. So now I get this chance to actually sit with you virtually via Zoom, and it's always good to chat with you. So really quick, give me your 30-second elevator speech of who Henry Cabillon is, who Guro Henry Cabillon is, and what he does. And, go for it, man.
Absolutely. My name is Henry Cabillon with the VISAYAN Legacy Association, and I am a Filipino martial arts practitioner and instructor, and a 19-time world champion. I'm happy to be here to kind of again propagate the martial arts and stick fighting specifically, right? And activity, healthy living, and thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. Okay, so a lot to unpack there, especially with the 9 times, right? So we'll get to that as we go on in the show, but tell me about like that first journey, right? Tell me about that first journey. For me, myself, we're pretty much from that same generation, right? We're pretty much from that same era. I used to watch and grew up watching Kung Fu theater and black belt theater on Channel 5 back in the days, right? Who didn't want to be a Kung Fu artist and a stunt man and all that good stuff? But when was that first, that door? Who got you in? Who inspired you to do this when, during your first part of your journey to get into the martial arts?
Absolutely. You know what? Believe it or not, it was my pops. It was my dad. I was 6 years old when I first started, and he basically woke me up early and taught me different types of martial arts. At the time, he had a wide range of expertise, from weapons to kind of just regular hand-to-hand combat to karate to a lot of different types of knife techniques, being in the military and being in law enforcement as well. So he was basically my early influence, and that was in the Philippines still. When I came here about 9 years old, 8.5, 9 years old, I formally started to take lessons with Taekwondo, and basically that became kind of my base art, right? And with regards to that piece, I fell in love with it, and just like you, Harry, I was watching Kung Fu theater. I was, basically I was glued to it on Saturdays, I mean, at the end of the day, I had recordings, and I would just pop the different videos in just to take a look at, how people fought, and really was a student from an early age of the arts, not just, hey, fighting this, or I want to learn to beat somebody up, or I want to, I just wanted to, I was voracious about just learning about the actual martial arts, regardless of what discipline it was, right? And, again, that love kind of bloomed as it kind of moved forward, and I started to explore different martial arts and started to cross-train with a lot of people as I continued the journey, right? So basically, started to, again, take Muay Thai kickboxing. I took some Aikido. I took some, a little bit of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? So a little bit of Judo, so it, as far as it goes, just exploring all the different ways that I could, learn and expand myself, and at the same token, when working with students, give them a little bit more insight with regards to what else is out there. It's not just one specific art and that's what you live by, and that, not that there's anything wrong with that, but being a more kind of well-rounded practitioner as well.
Right. So just moving on with your journey, you talked about doing Taekwondo and like Muay Thai kickboxing. As far as FMA and Filipino martial arts, who was the first introduction to that, and like what group did you first study with?
Absolutely. It was actually Grandmaster Felix Royles. Believe it or not, he came over here during the 1996 World Championships for WACAF, World Extreme Kali Arnis Federation, and my dad and him ended up working together at, out of all places, LBC, kind of shipping boxes out, just trying to basically make ends meet, and he wasn't established over here yet, and I came up in the conversation because of martial arts, and oh, my son takes martial arts and that whole deal. So and being of Visayan descent, right? So not just from the Philippines, but specifically the Visayan dialect, Cebuano Visayan. We shared that in common with Felix, and he said, "Hey, you know what? If he's interested, I'll teach him." So he was my first martial arts, Filipino martial arts instructor, and that group basically was the group that kind of became the trendsetter for a lot of the competitions. With regards to that piece, it was just a very different style of Filipino martial arts that really a lot of people didn't see in the circuit before the group was built. It was a lot of power-based strikes, right, at the onset, and it was a pretty much a wake-up call to the Filipino martial arts community during that time.
All right, so again, you're watching Hbtv, the show with your host Harry Bugarin and my special guest Henry Cabillon, Guro Henry Cabillon. I do have a correction to make. I may have misspoken and heard you wrong about 9 years, but someone here at FMA School corrected me and said 19 times, not 9. But we'll get back into that with that. So, as far as FMA, again, that's Filipino martial arts, all right? So this is part of our culture, part of our history, and it's us, which is really cool. For those of our viewers who are not really familiar with FMA, right? Do me a favor, just break it down a little bit. Do some like what type of techniques and what type of weapons and how it kind of, or how it, a lot of it, how it differs from the other martial arts out there that people are who know more about the other disciplines than FMA.
Absolutely. First and foremost, it's actually one of the fastest growing martial arts in the world, right? Simply because it's very fluid, it's very variable, right? It can exist with any other existing martial art out there and complement any other existing martial art out there. And the whole basis of Filipino martial arts is basically whatever weapon that we have. Yes, it's a weapon-based system, but any weapon that we have, be it sticks, be it knives, be it swords, whatever it may be, it's an extension of our arms, right? So our hands and our arms. So that being said, technically it's weapon-based, but it's hand to hand. It has a lot of the different elements, not just weapons elements. It has a dumog, which is a kind of grappling feature. It has a basically kind of basic blocking and striking, not just with your hands, but with different weapons. And it has a disarming portion with regards to that. So it's not like, hey, I have to have a stick or I have to have a knife in order to do what I do, right? So I should be able to feel comfortable if I don't have anything and I'm fighting somebody with a knife, or I don't have anything, I'm fighting somebody with a stick, and vice versa, right? Or he's got a stick, I have a knife. It's one of those things that we really try and explore as a martial art, all the different combinations therewith with regards to weapons, without weapons, and what that looks like and how the different transitions are. And that's why, again, it goes back to being very variable, being very fluid with regards to coexisting with other martial arts, and thus the popularity.
And that's what I love about and you can let me know if you really call it Kali or Eskrima, but that's what about that art is it's one of the only arts probably that you start off with a weapon, right? And you can have, like you said, the sticks, the knives, whatever you got, but even a pen or a rolled up newspaper. Absolutely. Or a chanelas if you need to, right? That could be your weapon. But that's really cool. So going back to your experience with Grandmaster Felix, right? Was that the first team or the first club that you were involved with to enter competitions?
Yes, it was. In 1997, actually, it was the summer of 1997. August was my first actual full contact competition in Filipino martial arts. It was the regionals for WACAF at that time, World Extreme Akali Arnis Federation. And like I said, it was a wake-up call for me because it was my first tournament. It was a wake-up call for kind of a lot of folks that had not seen Felix's teaching, his style, right, and what that manifested into. And I was fortunate enough to win the competition. I ended up winning, my single stick competition, and that was the start of it. I truly fell in love and knew that I had a future in the Filipino martial arts, and that I would be linked to this deal, and it would be part of my life in one form or another for the rest of my life.
Right. And so, moving from that, the very first time I just seen you, I might have met you at that time. It was in Oxnard. You were in a competition there. That was probably 2005. I was there with my grandmaster Larry Alcazar, rest in peace. But from that time, were you already VISAYAN legacy, or were you still with Grandmaster Felix? And what was going on at that tournament there?
Absolutely. So there were a couple of transitions, right? Felix went into a different transition where he actually had to go back to the Philippines, and we had to kind of close the school down, if you will. And I was kind of left in limbo. I didn't have an instructor at that time because he wasn't around. So I was fortunate enough to have cross-trained with Chief Joe Napiel, and at that time, Bandalan Dosiparas, right? So they were representative of Dosiparas, and it was an arm of Dosiparas under Grandmaster Alfredo Bandalan. And he basically took me under his wing, and my training partners during that time were Guru John Garcia and Guru Ariel Gonzalez. And I was very fortunate because even though I was training with Grandmaster Felix, I was still very raw. It was one of those. It wasn't quite refined yet. The skills that I had were not the range that they are now, and it was really truly Chief Joe Napiel, and eventually his brother, who's now our current Chief Salvador Sonny Napiel, who really kind of brought me up to where I consider myself to be at now, and really kind of taught me the ropes, taught me a lot of the nuances, a lot more of a perspective, with regards to how to fight, how to coach, how to teach, and how to train, most importantly. And VISAYAN legacy actually did not come about until 2007, when we basically kind of broke off from the group, if you will. Involuntarily, it's one of those things. It's always like that with couples, with different groups that you become part of. You kind of out of love, if you will, right? And in this scenario, we basically established VISAYAN legacy, or Chief Joe and Chief Sonny established VISAYAN legacy in 2007. And actually, Chief Joe, rest his soul, passed away in 2004. So it was one of those where it was bittersweet, but I definitely am very thankful that not only did I get to spend time with him, we get to propagate and continue his teachings through VISAYAN legacy moving forward.
Understand. Again, you're watching Hbtv, the show, with your host Harry Bugarin and my special guest Guro Henry Cabillon. So in 2005, was that your first championship?
No. Close. It was the road to that, right? So when Chief Joe passed away in 2004, during that time our group did not have a world champion yet, and we kind of gathered the group together, like, hey, you know what? It was one of those that we kind of take it for granted because we had a lot of talent as a group, right? But it's one of those like, hey, you know what? We'll get to it. And at that point, I believe John and Eric, our two guys, were the only ones from the group that had ever fought at a world championship. So we made it a point as a group, and during that time we had multiple locations. We had Oxnard. We also had Illinois at that time, Northern California, Southern California. Riverside wasn't even part of it yet, right? Or was not established yet. Lawndale wasn't established yet, right? So it was one of those. We just had like a raw group of folks, right? And that journey, because it's World Championships occur every 2 years, right? And that journey started in 2004 when Chief Joe passed away, and it was really focused through 2004, that whole season. 2005, when you saw me in Oxnard, I believe that was the nationals in Oxnard, and either the regionals or the nationals, and every competition was just kind of gut wrenching. It was just very emotional because of all the memories that it kind of invoked with Chief Joe, and it culminated into the World Championships in 2006 in Florida, right? And it was in basically down the way from Disney World, and it was at the Dolphin Resort in Florida, and that's when I actually got my first 2 gold medals in a World Championship. So got my World Championship, kind of fulfilled my dream, if you will, during that time, along with several of our team members, including John Garcia with 2 gold medals, and just, I mean, again, it was just a showing from the whole group during that time, and kind of put us on the map as you know, one of the premier groups, not just in the nation, in the United States, but also in the world, with regards to not just the talent that we had, but the instructors and the leadership, as well as the students.
So take us back, man. Take us back 2006. You're in Florida, and you're at that. I don't know what it was. Was it like, you know, this is the last match, man? It's do or die, go home. Take us through that. What was going through your mind?
Absolutely.
What was the scenario? Was it like, oh man, I'm down 3. You know, I got to chop his ankle and his and his wrist and his head to get the 3 points? Like take us through what was going on with those blows.
You know, I think one of the most memorable moments of that tournament, first and foremost, about a month before my first fight in 2006 for the World Championships, I basically tore 2 out of 3 ligaments on my left ankle, and I was unable to walk for 10, 11 days. So it was basically in danger that like I was even going to be able to make it to the World Championships. And so basically I saw a specialist out in Beverly Hills, and he gave me kind of an update. Hey, you have a 20% chance of fighting. And then I think he ended up with you have a between 80 and 85% chance. That sounds good. And John basically learned how to wrap up my ankle so that I can fight. And I was just like, that's good enough for me, man. And it just meant so much, first and foremost. But one of the really key moments during that tournament is the team competition. I was ironically enough part of the Philippine team that fought for the team competition there, and we basically combined, the 3 of us. I was fighting with 2 brothers, right? Chippy and June Angeles, right? And our combined weight was 410 pounds. So I carried the majority of that weight at 155, and the one brother was 110, the other brother was 120, I think. So it was a kind of David versus Goliath type situation, and basically we fought. Anybody we fought was easily over 500, 600 pounds kind of combined, right? So it's not about the weight, right? It's mainly about technique and you know how you kind of manage the time that you're fighting. But we basically this was the semifinal match, and it was against Australia. And I remember that, you know, again, it was one of these where we were in dire straits, right? It was one of those. I typically fight last in the sequence, kind of, if you will, anchor the group, you know, so that if we're behind, it's my job to catch us up points wise. And it's based on a boxing 10-point must system for all the fighters out there. So it's not like you get points; you can only get points taken away, right? You don't get additional points, right? So or if we're even, then it's also my job to get up so that we can win. Or if we're ahead, it's my job to manage that round so that we stay ahead, right? But that being said, it felt like, again, we were kind of behind, if you will, right? So we basically kind of gutted it out and ended up, we had to go into sudden death. And in this scenario, we had to go into a fourth round into an overtime match, right? And winner take all. And typically when you go into a fourth round, there's 3 team members. The person who goes first should be fighting the fourth round. But because they basically got injured, my one teammate got hit in the back of the head. Again, he was very skinny and he jumps up in the air. He gets checked and, he just goes flying like a piece of feather, right? And my other team member got hit behind the knee. And so I was basically trying to buy some time because I was trying to get my breath. And long story short, ended up fighting that fourth round and that sudden death round. And I'd say about 15 seconds into that minute, I got my stick taken away from me. And, again, that's not ideal, right? And that when you take a look at that piece from, let's say, a boxing point of view, it's equivalent to a knockout. So, it's a full point deducted from every single judge. There's 3 judges. And so not only did I have to make that point back up, I had to win the round, right? So as we fast forward with about maybe 10 seconds left to go in the match, in that round, I take my opponent's stick away and kind of the place kind of goes crazy, right? And I just remember it being memorable just because I knew at that moment I won, we won, right? And we did, one of the more impossible things, in that tournament. And, it was a great feeling. So we did go on to win that match, and we won the finals against the Germans. And the Germans, just so that you know, their combined weight was 745 pounds. Again, we were 415 pounds, right? So it was very kind of lopsided. It really did have that kind of David and Goliath feel, but we were just so amped up, and all their kind of wounds healed up real quick, and just that adrenaline really got them through the finish line and got us to that world championship for the team competition. So very, very memorable tournament for me, very memorable event in my life in Filipino martial arts.
So remind me one more time, how did you tear those 3 ligaments in your ankle?
Yes. We were training at Guro John Garcia's house in Garden Grove at the time. A lot of Filipino martial artists are made out of garages, right? So we're just basically, teaching and training out of different garages, and in this scenario, we would train on, usually a couple of weekdays and a Saturday afternoon, and we usually warm up and cool down with a little basketball, because again, at the end of the day, basketball will help you with your lateral movement, your side-to-side movement, your quickness, right? Your quick burst of speed. And it was, I remember it was game 4 of 4. We deemed it to be the last game because we had already been playing for about an hour at that time after working out for about 3.5, 4 hours, right? So, it's one of those deals like, all right, this is the last game. And if those of you guys that know Guro Ariel Gonzalez, he's what is it, 6'1", so he powers me, right? And one of my favorite shots on the court, on a basketball court, are the wing 3-pointers, right? And I believe that this was the game point, right? And he knew when I got this ball that I would take the shot from the corner. The problem is, because it was a house, it was a garage, they had just redone their garage, their outside of the garage with like kind of brick inlay, and where the side was, there should have been a potted plant, so that you could have, there was dirt there, so there's like this steep drop from where the bricks are into this square area of dirt, right? So obviously, as you can tell, I go to jump up and take the shot, and Ariel comes flying from the right side and basically tries to block this shot, and in so doing, basically pushes my body to the left, thereby having me take that step right on the edge of that cliff of the brickwork, and just rolled my ankle completely out. So much so. By the way, the shot was made. We won the game, so all was good there.
Oh.
But I was lying, driving, just writhing in pain. Had to cut my shoes. Went to the ER,
Wow.
and the whole deal, and it was a disaster. So definitely paid a huge price for that piece. But again, at the end of the day, we got the job done, and we were able to have success in the World Championships in 2006.
Again, you're watching HBTV, the show with your host Harry Bugarin and my special guest Guro Henry Cabillion, breaking ankles over there in a bad way, not crossing over, guys. But as far as that was your first championship, right? So the road to am I saying this right? 19? Is that what that
19,
number?
19.
Okay, so the road to 19. All right, so I mean that's a lot. I'm gonna tell the guests just to go Google Henry Cabillion, and maybe you guys can they see some of your matches on there and see some of the world.
I believe so.
Okay.
We were pretty guarded with a lot of our kind of content, if you will, just because. Again, back in the day, it was one of those things that, hey, you know what, our style and this and that or the other, and now we've been a lot more liberal with regards to this piece, because again, it's about the propagation of the arts. It's about sharing information, and it's friendly competition at the end of the day, right? And we've been able to fight and meet and cross sticks with so many different people, not just in the United States, but in all the different countries in Europe and Asia and Africa and South America. So it's one of the most awesome experiences in my whole life, and I have some friends that honestly I only see during the World Championships or during nationals, and I really cherish those moments, and I know that my team members, my students do the same and feel the same exact way when we can just reach out, and with social media where it is, and touch and base with all these different groups, all these individuals, it's what makes it worth it, right? And therefore, yes, we've been sharing a lot more content, so they should there should be some stuff out there.
Okay, yeah. So I'll just tell them to Google and YouTube that the 19. But just really quick before we continue on with our interview, but tell us some of the places you've been and some of the more memorable championships that's close to your heart.
Absolutely. What's cool is, again, there's no, hey, it's always this venue every single World Championship, but we basically hopped around, right? So kind of going straight from since my 2006, in 2008 we were in the Philippines. We're in Cebu City, Philippines, which is it was really special, because that is the headquarters of Doce Pares, right? And that's basically my parent style, right? So when I was with Felix, that was his parent style, and when we were with Bandolan Doce Pares, that was our parent style. So it meant a lot to not just be in that city, but to be able to fight the World Championships in that city, and was able to get a World Championship there as well. In 2010 was in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and that was special because that was the first time where I swept all of my events for 3 World Championships in forms, single stick, and team competition there, and that was the first time that I ever swept at a World Championship. So it was really, really special from the standpoint of not just the work that went in, but the effort and the results that we got there. And then in 2012 we had that was the first time that the kind of break off happened with WCAF, which was the original group of World Eskrima Kaliarnis Federation, and our current world group now, which is GSBA, which is Global Stick and Blade Alliance. And so that was the first time that we actually broke up the 2 organizations, and GSBA's kind of coming out party, if you will, that was in Las Vegas in 2012. And that was, again, it was one of those where I remember it was the temperatures in Vegas, because we always have it in the middle of July. I think it reached in the 120s, right? It was definitely in the high one teens, right? So that was an awesome experience. In 2014 was the first time that I got a chance to go to Europe, right? So that was in Rome, Italy, and that to me was an extremely memorable one, because in my mind's eye, I was going to say to myself, I was saying to myself, this is the one that I'm going to retire with. I'm going to Rome. I'm going to, the birthplace of the world, in essence, right? When, again, just a special place in history, right? And, when we got over there, just really took everything in, right? And I kind of fell in love with the whole deal all over again, right? I met some new people, and gained a different love for, again the arts as a whole, right? Seeing the Colosseum, seeing all these different moments in history, right? I fell in love with it, and decided not to retire, and continue on. So in 2016, our world championship took us to Honolulu, Hawaii, and that's where we had it. So that was also special, because then there were several. There were a couple of different events that have been added on, and I was fortunate enough to sweep that one for all that. For that was 5 gold medals, because we added padded engagement, and then we also added for single and multiple weapon padded engagement there. So that was really sweet. And then and finally in 2018, right, was in Lisbon, Portugal, and that, going back to Europe again, is just, it's just steeped with history, and I love it every time I get a chance to travel for martial arts. I cherish those moments. I cherish those experiences, right? And not only that, the team travels with us, and we just build that camaraderie, right? With the whole group, and we travel with the U.S. team, and we represent. We've had upwards of 250 people represent at a world championship, and that's no small feat, right? And unfortunately, because of COVID, we were supposed to go back to Florida this year, at St. Petersburg, in the middle of summer, but because that was canceled, they actually made the decision to go an off year. So it's usually on the even years, right? And so we are postponing it to 2021. And it's going to be in Bonn, Germany. So I get to go back to Europe. We get to go back to Europe. So
Nice.
I'm super excited about it. And on top of that, I haven't had a chance to bring Agnes and the family over there, just because of different circumstances. In 2014, when I went to Rome, Layla was
Yeah.
born. And then, and when I went to Lisbon, the kids had a whole bunch of things going on in the summer, so couldn't make it out. So I'm excited to represent the United States in Bonn, Germany, for World Championships for GSBA, Global Stick and Blade Alliance, in 2021.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So I want to transition more into you being as an instructor. So tell me a little bit about how that experience has been for you, how it's molded you, not only as a practitioner, but you're being an instructor and a mentor, and just an overall your whole being as a person.
Absolutely. It's it's done wonders for me. And basically, I've been teaching for many years, since I was in my teens, right? And when it comes to Filipino martial arts, again, I know, not only do I love this art, it's part of my culture, it's part of my heritage, right? And so part of giving back with regards to that piece is, hey, you know what? All the things that I've learned throughout my life, all the different people that I've had a chance to study with, and again, practice whatever art it is. I feel that I owe it to anybody who's willing to learn, to be able to teach them. And for me personally, it's helped me become a better practitioner, because it's one of those, in order to become a better practitioner, you have to be able to teach what you know to somebody else and relay that information, right? And learning how to adjust someone's perspective, or take it from their point of view, right? Because different people learn in different modes and modalities, be it hands-on, be it visual, be it auditory, whatever it may be, tactile. So just learning different ways of presenting information, and presenting different concepts and techniques, right? So for every concept, there's easily 1,000 techniques, right? So as opposed to the, hey, do this exactly like I do it, our whole tenet as a school is we don't want cookie cutter, right? We basically want to develop people and their strengths, and any weaknesses that somebody has, then let's figure those out. Let's work with those, and let's help turn those weaknesses into strengths, and then turn those strengths into super strengths, if you will, right? Turning B players into C players, C into B and whatnot, and A into A plus players. And we've been very fortunate. Currently, right now, we have schools in Carson, right, representing at my home location here. Oxnard with Guro Francis Serrano, Lawndale with Milo Kodanis, and we have Oxnard over with Tim Pollan, and then also up in Northern California with Guru Connie Fidel and Guru Dale de los Reyes. And here down in Southern California is where Grandmaster Sonny Napiel is residing in Long Beach, or in Signal Hill, and as well as Guru John Garcia is in Buena Park, and myself and Guru Ariel Garcia are in Carson locally. So it's definitely some good representation with regards to that. But that being said, when somebody checks out the VISAYAN Legacy website, they could see all our locations, all our instructors, kind of the history behind that piece. And again, for me, with regards to teaching, it's about honestly seeing that light on the other side, or seeing their eyes kind of glow or get bigger because they understand a concept, and they get it, right? And again, I consider myself very fortunate, not just to have been able to land here, but to have been able to teach and learn from all the different people that I've had a chance to train with, train for, and train myself, right? And again, it's one of those, I've had a chance to take somebody from scratch walking in. I'll use one of my students, Matthew Cruz, who's now LAPD. He's a police officer now. He walked in, I believe he was over 240 pounds, right? And he started to train with us, and he became a world champion within 2.5 years, right? Obviously that's not without the work that he put in, and the time that he invested in the martial arts, but he really understood that, hey, there's something here, there's something to learn. It's something that, again, that he could use not just in regular daily or just in class. And that's what I love about Filipino martial arts, is that it's not just, I only get to use it when I go to class, like you said, with a pen, with a knife, with anything, with a baton, with a pipe, with an axe, with a hatchet. I mean, you name it, right? It's very variable, and you can practice it and take it anywhere with you, and take these concepts and help you be confident, be mentally prepared, right? Moving forward in every aspect of your life, right? So it's been very fulfilling to be a Filipino martial arts instructor, and more specifically, martial arts instructor for VISAYAN Legacy Association.
That's awesome, and I feel the same sentiment as well. I had the opportunity to coach basketball at different levels for about 13 years, and just meeting those students, meeting those players over the years. You always have a special place for all of them, right? Even the ones I'm about to ask you. You mentioned Matthew Cruz. Big shout out to Officer Cruz, man, and stay blessed out there, stay safe. You got boots on the streets, protecting all of us. We do appreciate that. But I just wanted to ask you really quick, some of my final questions here before we end this. As far as your experience with being an instructor, any memorable students? You mentioned one, Matthew, right? Number two was, I know you got different students, man. I mean, I'm not saying pick your favorites, but just an experience you had that maybe there was that one, that one him or her that was like always questioning, what you're trying to tell them, and you're like, dude, just do it, man. You know what I mean? Or was there one that was always late? That one that was
Absolutely.
always late. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, of course. But first of all, I'm actually getting text. I think I'm naming names, right? But it's Guru Ariel Gonzalez. So if I, I think I said John Garcia and Ariel Garcia. So it's Guru Ariel Garcia and Guru Francis Serrano is out of Riverside, right? So he is in Riverside, and to answer your question, it is that it's PJ, right? Francis Serrano, right? Because he started with me back in '98 while I was still going to UCLA, and that's when I started teaching kind of a local group out of Gardena, right? And he has now kind of grown up in the arts, and he has, established himself as an instructor, and now he's got his own group, FMA, over in Riverside, and he's a marketing wizard. He's a marketing guru, right? And, he's got students from all over, I think all over the world, kind of online classes, and definitely he's grown in his own right. But, he once upon a time, started with me, and again, a lot of those when folks come in and they're hungry, and it's you've seen in a lot of the kung fu movies, their cup is empty, right? They don't come in with a full cup because of their previous experiences, and they're willing to learn, and they're willing to basically take a look at a different perspective, and take everything in, right? It's awesome. It's awesome to see that, and I love seeing that. And I love developing, new talent and helping people, hey, expand on what they know already, and also, again, help them kind of grow, not just in the martial arts, but in personally as well, because we always talk about this piece as a family, right? It's not just, oh, we're a specific school. We are a family. When we get together, it's like a family reunion, right? And that's what I love about not just what I do, but the group that I am part of, and that speaks for a lot of different groups out there as well. When we get together and meet at competitions, you see just different families, right? And that's how I kind of take a look at it, and I cherish my experience and my time with my family, and again, I'm extremely proud of what Francis and PJ Francis has become over the years, and I've been very fortunate to be able to call myself his first instructor, right? So that's it right there.
That's awesome, man. And just really quick, let's say that people are interested in getting some type of instruction from you, either some privates or joining your class. Is that something that you guys are doing currently, or you guys just holding off on that until things let up with the COVID situation?
Yeah, just with the COVID situation, it's tough to kind of get together as a group, because again, when we do kind of fight, we're obviously up close, and you're breathing extremely hard, and it makes it difficult with a mask there. So we are still training, right? So we actually do some Zoom classes. So what I do is Tuesday and Thursday nights from 6:30 to 7:30, I just basically do a cardio class, if you will, stretching and cardio, just to not just get the blood flowing, but to stay in shape, right? Stay in shape so that when we get back together and start doing curriculum, start training for competition, then we're gonna already be ready. So again, and they talk about, you got to stay ready so that you don't have to get ready, right? So that being said, currently, at least on my side, I'm just doing kind of cardio right now, just maintaining. I know that again, PJ Francis, Guru Francis, is doing online curriculum as well there with Zoom. So they could find information on defiantlegacy.com, and they could search us out.
And just a caveat on that, really quick, guys. If you guys are trying to train with Guro Henry CABILLON, all right, his warm up is going to be your main workout. So I'm just letting y'all know, his warm up is your main workout. I mean, he killed me a couple thousand times with that stuff. But hey, brother, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to stop by the show and hang out with us, hang out with me. And Agnes as well. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. I'm actually going to do this quick giveaway, right? So this quick giveaway to anybody who's still here watching. I got this black on black Hbtv hat. I'm going to give this away. And all you guys need to do, right? All you guys need to do is answer 3 questions. And you guys can DM me on my Instagram, Harry.Bulgarian_TV on IG. And basically just 3 questions. Just 3 questions. 1, how many ligaments did Guro Henry tear in his ankle? All right. Number 2, what are the 2 favorite products of AGNES CABILLON for Rodan and Fields? And number 3, what was the first year of Guro Henry's championship run? All right. So DM me on my IG again. That's Harry.Bulgarian_TV. You just hit me with it with the answers. I'll give you this brand new snapback Hbtv black on black. And again, thank you very much, Henry, for hanging out and sharing with us the beauty and the culture of the Filipino martial arts and your journey. Love to have you back on. Just to recap on other stuff after Germany and everything like that. If there's other projects you're gonna be doing, love to hook you up with this one guy who does movie stuff. So I'm gonna talk to you offline. And I think it'll be really cool for you guys to hook up, and we'll talk more, man, offline with it. But everybody,
thanks.
Thank you for tuning in. And again, Henry, thank you very much, man. I'll see you.
Thanks
brother.
for having us. Have a good one.
So again, those were my 2 guests tonight. That was AGNES CABILLON. She's a independent consultant with Rodan and Fields, and I'll have that description on there for you in the video. And also Guro Henry CABILLON with FMA, Filipino Martial Arts, VISAYAN Legacy. So thank you guys for hanging out. I do appreciate it. This is actually the second to last season episode of season 1. I got one more next Sunday. I hope you guys can tune in at 6 p.m. With a mentor of mine, a good friend, Coach Hernando Planels. He recently got appointed to the head women's basketball coach at William Jessup up there in Sacramento. So congratulations to him. But I can't wait to have him and also end off my season 1 of the show. So thank you for all the love and support. I do appreciate it. Go ahead and hit me on my on that Instagram again, Harry.Bulgarian_TV, and just give me those answers again. What are Agnes's 2 favorite products? How many ligaments did Guro Henry CABILLON tear in his ankle, and what year was that first championship? And how many times did the Batmobile get a flat? That's for you, MC. But anyways, I'm going to end off. You guys have a blessed rest of your night and a great week. And just in honor of KB24, man, I just want to hit you with this before I leave. Let's see if I can play this here. Before we sign off, I just want to hit you with this. I want to say happy birthday to Kobe Bryant. He's touched a lot of us. Impacted a lot of us over the years, and just wanted to wish him a happy birthday, and to all of you Kobe Bryant fans as well out there. So check this out. I pulled this off, and hopefully the YouTube police don't get me. But you guys, again, thank you for hanging out. Check out this little video that I got here that I'm about to show you guys. All right, guys, be safe. Peace.